You're not in your pants, are you?
I'm in me shorts, you silly sod.
Good.
Sit thee down, beautiful people, and welcome to Men in Sheds, episode 17. We can now legally drive as an episode.
Oh yeah. What? Oh yeah, 17. You can't you? Yeah.
We can get our provisional license now. Men in Sheds.
Although you could have been driving for quite some time. Were you in the place that you are in at the moment?
Yeah, I could have been driving for about 10 years at this place as like a police officer probably, because I am, if people can't tell, not in the shed, am I? Not in the shed at all.
Neither am I, but I haven't got a background like yours.
You haven't. I'm in a shed very high up in a little town called Phoenix.
Thousands and thousands of miles away from the Staffordshire Moorlands.
Thousands.
Literally thousands.
Yeah, about as far away as you can get. And I tell you, it's bloody hot. Bloody hot.
I know, we're having heat wave, but you're already ahead, and it's 9 o'clock in the morning. I was on 29 degrees this afternoon. I think you're 30. The weather report
is it? What's it coming up at?
30. I think it said 34. And it's 9 o'clock in the morning.
I'm going to it's 30. According to 33, 34 at the moment.
Yeah. Going up to.
It's nice and cool in the morning. Kept me cardigan on for me stroll for breakfast. Like no problem with that.
Looks like a smoking jacket, that does.
Well, yeah. Well, it's that hot, you see. You have to wear a smoking jacket when it's that hot. So, since we're doing our first international episode of Men in Sheds, and it's a momentous occasion, we're going to keep it pretty simple, aren't we? Because we're just going to talk like America past, America present, and America future. Because why would anyone want anything else? And
You're in America.
I'm on the ground. I can tell you what's happening right now. Tell you anything.
You can feel the groundswell. You can feel you're down on the streets.
I am, because I think America is in flux. It is in automotive flux at the moment, isn't it? Yeah. It's changing a lot.
True.
And I tell you this much: America past. Where is it?
Where is it?
Where is it? Because I'm not seeing it.
That's because you're not in Detroit, perhaps. If you're in Detroit, maybe you would be surrounded by the past America.
I'm not seeing many older cars at all. They're all like newer, and I mean, I've seen like an old pickup truck. That's the only old things you see, like old pickup trucks, maybe old Jeeps and stuff.
Yeah.
And bugger all else, quite frankly, which is just weird.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm used to, whenever I've been to the States in the past, they've always been really sort of good at having old cars driving around, like loads of classics. Yeah. And let's face it, America has a good car history.
Oh yeah, they've got a good back catalogue to go on, haven't they? Really, let's be honest. Yeah.
Absolutely, and I thought I'd see more of them because they usually drive their old motors around, and like all the 50s stuff's dead cool in it, all the 60s stuff.
And I mean, it's not like you're in the Rust Belt or anything like that. I mean, that's about as good as it gets for storing an old car, isn't it? Really, it never rains,
No rust here.
Yeah, exactly.
I did drop on a bit, as you saw, Andrew, and anyone that follows that Instagram or Facebook page I've seen. So
if you aren't, do it now.
So yeah, because I'm here, because my girlfriend is speaking at a conference and organising at a conference, and we're strolling into the convention centre to register, and there were like gang member looking people around, and pin-up girls covered in tattoos and stuff like that.
You're like, what kind of conference is this?
Oh, these aren't librarians, are they? So then we saw sign said custom car show. And then it said custom supercar show. We were a bit confused.
Supercar show?
I was a bit like, I'm not kidding. And then a guy said, it's a lowrider show.
It's Super Space Car Show rather than Supercar Show.
That's the one, Super Space Car Show. And, got some tickets, went in. The security were crazy. It were you had to have a sign saying no handguns allowed.
That's a bit scary, that, isn't it, really?
Yeah, and I don't know if that's like how they are with all shows.
Or maybe they were sort of racially profiling a little bit, do you think?
Well, yeah, because the thing about lowrider scene, like, for those that don't know, lowrider scene is very much embedded in gang culture.
Yeah.
Massively. And, like, the lowriders themselves, they all have that plaque above the rear seats that kind of shows who they're, you know, which gang they're in or which club they're in and stuff like that.
So, right, yeah.
I don't know if it were that. Like, they were just worried there'd be rival gangs there and it might kick off.
Kick off in the convention centre.
Like, pop a Glock. Or if it's just like how Americans are with everything, because, you know, like, bit security bothered, aren't they?
Yeah. Sort of maybe everyone's just popping Glocks all the time.
That's it. Because they have open carry here.
You
can walk around with your AK-47 strapped to your back if you want.
As you do, yeah.
If you're that way inclined.
Yeah, yeah.
So went into that show, and I tell you what, oh my God, the quality.
It was clean. It looked a bit clean, I tell you that.
I've never seen cars that clean. I've never seen them. It were all
couldn't see them for the blinding shininess of them.
I had to slap the shades back on. Get me cap flat out, pull down.
Yeah, steady on.
It were the level of quality,
the
workmanship, the bling was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And they had some other stuff in there as well, like some hot rods, some pro street cars, some 4x4s, you know, and there was like some sort of throwbacks to the mini truck. I only saw like one mini truck. And it makes you wonder, like, what happened to the mini truck?
Yeah. Because that was due a revival.
Well, that's it. And for those that don't know, the mini truck phenomena was like a 90s thing. Yeah. A bit like the whole Surfer 4x4 thing. But for low riders. Yeah. And you had to get like either a Mazda B2000 pickup, or you got, you couldn't get them in the UK, but like a Tacoma two-wheel drive pickup. And then they'd just drop them like all the way down, and you'd do things like leaf spring blocks, relocate kit. So usually like your leaf spring goes like that, and below it you've got your location block with your axle, and you just flip them. So your leaf spring would go under.
It's like spring under rather than spring over.
Yeah, that'd be one way of doing it. Like, and I only saw one sort of mini truck-esque truck there, and it was very modernised, and I think it's a shame, you know, because we used to do them in the UK as well. Sierra Pickup was quite popular for doing that.
Ooh,
was it the P100?
The P100, isn't it?
P100 pickup, and you'd have them in fluorescent colours. And you'd have the kind of waves, swooshes, and bubbles and stuff like that on them. Yeah, really cool. But I didn't see much of them.
The mini truck thing, that's the one with the titanium skid plates, isn't it? When you drive them just absolutely flat on floor, sparking away. Yeah, proper cool.
Oh, dead cool.
Yeah.
And I didn't. Yeah. None of them did any bouncing. There was nothing in motion.
I am disappointed.
Yeah, absolutely, because if there's one thing the lowrider community have got that the stance community don't have, is it's that ability. I tell a tiny lie when we were out later. It was painful, because I was wandering around later, and they were coming out, and I couldn't work out where from, and they were kind of like trying to get video of them, couldn't do it.
Yeah.
But we did see like an Impala, because there were so many Impalas, a few blocks down, and pulled over and jacked up before he drove off.
Nice.
Yeah, and it was funny the way it went up, because it did sort of, you know, it's like it was now smooth about it, because all hydraulics in it, so it was just like, whop, 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 up it went. And like drove off dead high, I didn't know why.
Yeah, there's a really good video, it's a good person to follow on the YouTubes. His name's Alexi, I think the channel's Noriyaro, and that's all Japanese, but he did a video recently, and he went to a Japanese lowrider event, and that was the same kind of stuff, but they were proper. They got the competitions and all that sort of stuff, and a lot of those sort of he was filming them when they were leaving, you know, and like you say, that kind of like some of them just like jerking up and then driving off, and some just like swooping, just this beautiful sort of gliding up as they drove away. It's proper cool, proper cool.
Oh, and you know, the Impala is such a gorgeous looking car. What a time for cars. Absolutely, you know, Chevy come along and they say, we're going to do this massive luxury 2-door pillarless saloon, and it just, the 69 year is just unbelievably gorgeous.
Yeah, and like you say, why are they not everywhere? Why are they not you're not seeing them on streets? Why not when you've got this kind of back catalogue to go at?
I've been thinking about it, and I think what it is particularly around here, from what I can tell, is an old car is dangerous.
Right.
Especially this time of year.
Yeah.
And it's just because of the heat.
I suppose so, yeah. I mean, that's it. When you're in the 40s, Celsius we're talking about, yeah. It's, you want your aircon, but I guess you want something reliable. You want something that you're not going to, expire in, basically. Yeah.
That's it. You can't afford to break down. You can't afford for your aircon to be rubbish. You know, and it might be that it's unusual, like, because I'm here when it's really hot. They're talking about shutting down the airport tomorrow and stuff like that.
Right.
And that's we don't know why. I don't know if that's because the air pressure's too low because of the heat, or if it's because like tyres and just because everything just gets pushed that bit harder. So that might be why there's fewer cars. Oh gosh, I've seen bugger all. I do know of they're big into their forward control Jeeps.
Oh.
Yeah, there's a guy that collects them. And
they are just super cool.
And what I saw that was really cool is, you know, that those little commercial sort of fleet vehicles, you know, forward control fleet ones. When they have the FC meet here, the guy's got like a tour bus version, and he goes to the airport to pick people up. They're all sat in rows. It's got like 3 rows in the back of his FC.
That is super cool.
But yeah, and I do more exploring, but I haven't got a car at the moment.
Yeah, and it's too hot to go out, quite frankly.
It's too bloody hot. So
don't want you expiring on the streets either.
No, I can't have that. Could be men in sheds. Can you imagine the national crisis that would emerge if people heard about that?
Can't have man in shed.
It just wouldn't be the same. It's one thing not being in sheds, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. We're pushing it already.
Man not in shed would not be acceptable.
We need at some point, I've got to work out a way of beaming Wi-Fi to the shed so that we can do like a live stream one day from the shed proper. Because I can't claim to be in the shed right now either, so we're not doing very well.
You're not far off, though, are you? You're not far off.
No. Should have pulled the car around and tried to get Wi-Fi in the car.
Ooh, that would have been a bit clever, that would have.
That would have been clever. I should have thought of that.
So, America Past is... I think America car culture, in terms of it being America, it's like... It's died, it's gone. It really has, it's over.
Do you think it's like in pockets as well? You know, you've got like, California seems to be its own little thing, doesn't it? And I guess there's pockets of particular car cultures or car, you know, like sort of down in the deep south, and you've got kind of like the swamp buggies and that kind of, all that sort of stuff. But as a general sort of thing, I guess maybe that's it. There's just places that the rust belt too hard to have an old car because it's just rotting away all the time. Like say, too hot here, and I suppose that's where it starts to fragment up, doesn't it? Eventually, it's too difficult, and new cars are just so good, and they just soak up the miles and the heat and the cold and the wet and stuff. And I guess eventually you just get drawn away from it. You just sort of, it's too easy to have a new car, maybe.
There is that, and I'm looking forward to getting into Vegas, and obviously in Orlando it'll be interesting as well, and because those are sort of car culture hubs. But what has definitely passed is the American culture in cars. And like when you see those 50s cars, like for instance, something I forgot about the Impala, the 60s Impala, is the front seats, when you want to get out, rotate towards the door.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and they're just these gorgeous, like, there were a time when, like, motoring was so luxurious. You can imagine having one of these cars and the way that, like, say, the seat swivels so you can get in the back or you can get in the front, and the way the windows all come down, it's just glorious. And, you know, going back to the old caddies of the 50s, I mean, a caddy in the 50s, everything was pneumatic.
Yeah.
Pneumatic windows, pneumatic seats, and you had things like... you didn't have an ashtray. You had a little hole that you put the cigarette in, and it sucked the ash off your cigarette.
Yeah.
It's just like that was.
And when you think, like you say, at the time when you're looking at what that's a luxury car, and you look at what a basic car was at that time, like you say, the Golf is just. It's more extreme than, I don't know, a Kia to a Phantom now, isn't it, really, I think?
Yeah. And there was something really kind of American about that. And it's just petered out. And I think, you know, all that's been left now for the past maybe 20 years, I think it died off with the Cadillacs a bit. It's the kind of America version. It's like, America is the only thing they've got left.
Yeah, so like the Challengers and the...
Yeah. All that's happened for about 20 years now is they've just been doing like high-powered Mustangs, Camaros and stuff like that. And, you know, the Pontiac GTO before Pontiac folded.
Yeah.
And that's quite an interesting subject, actually. So it kind of relates to what's happening now. So I don't know if you've heard, but right now, Civic Type R sticker prices, they're up by about $20,000, $15,000 to $20,000.
Right.
Dealership markup.
Wow.
Yeah, because everyone's going mad for them over here.
Yeah.
And Honda are trying to ban it.
Oh, right.
And that's with
the marking up of stuff.
Yeah, because top dealers doing that. Because you have to buy through a dealer in America. And Tesla are fighting that. You have to drive across the state to get around it sometimes.
Oh, right. And
the reason that Honda are trying to stop it, I think, is because it's what killed Pontiac in the end.
Yeah.
It's what killed it. It was because of the GTO, and the GTO was an amazing car because basically it was the Vauxhall VXR8.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
With a different front end, and it was a brilliant car, and the Americans went nuts for it, and the dealers whacked the prices right up, and as a result, the sales went down and people weren't buying them. And the dealers didn't care. Because they know if they sold one, they'd make 5 times the profit they normally would, so it was equivalent to 7.5.
Yeah.
And the result of that, what would happen is Pontiac would release an update version, like a phased, new phase version, facelift and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And the old stock would be sent back and written off.
Crikey.
And it sank them in the end.
Yeah, well, I'm not surprised. That's it. It's kind of, it's a bit sort of, it's meddling in the market very much, isn't it, really? Yeah.
Because the thing about, people don't know, is that performance models kill car companies because there's very little profit in them. The development, R&D work's crazy. The sales, like all the car manufacturers, they want to make an L spec, a base spec, something like that. You're really popular, middle of the road. But I digress. I'm hoping to see more classic cars than I've seen so far, and I'm doing a bit of a road trip tomorrow up to Sedona, so maybe I'll see some on the road, something like that. I don't know.
Do you think like if I suppose this is maybe a good segue into the present category, but so if you're not seeing old American cars, are you seeing those kind of challenges, like the souped up, the hepped up sort of modern equivalents like Challengers and big V8s, or is it just blur, just grey, just just bland sort of?
Yeah,
even in the modern,
it is very bland. The pickup is king.
Yeah,
and there's a lot of sort of bro trucks or bro dozers. Actually, I wouldn't say they're full bro dozer. They just tend to be like a little bit of lift and stuff like that.
Yeah,
there's plenty of them driving around, and you barely notice them.
Yeah, they're that. Yeah.
Yeah, the rest is just absolute mediocrity. Like, it is just like going around Europe. It's barely any difference. Be completely, Europeanized. And the car that sticks out, the car that gets your attention every time you see one is the Challenger.
Yeah.
Every time. And I've seen probably, like one per journey, one per outing.
Mm-hmm. And just enough.
Oh, every time I see one, I'm like, that is like, it's so American, and it's not trying to be anything else, and it doesn't even want to go to Europe or anything like that, and it looks perfect over here.
Yeah.
Because the roads are so big, the environment's so oppressive, and they just look ready to sort of just absolutely throttle down the interstate with the hammer down and just rumble their way through, and that never get too hot, tires sticky as hell, just through that heat haze. And they really, you kind of get that aura from them. But what's really odd is the way people drive.
Yeah.
It is unbelievably relaxed. So I've seen, I saw a Maserati coupe yesterday in satin petrol blue.
Oh, wow, crikey.
Sounded good. I got aftermarket exhaust and stuff.
Yeah.
Because you just hear the odd proper rumble. It's almost always a pickup normally. And I tell you, this thing must have been doing about 5 to 10 mile an hour. And he came up the road, and I saw him for ages because the roads are just dead straight. It's a block system. And he just came, and he just, that noise. And it took him and then he just sort of stopped about 10 yards back from the traffic lights. He eventually turned green, and I swear, all he did was just lift the foot off the brake and just sort of coasted just gradually across. And you see that. And as a result of that, cars are really quiet. Unless they've got aftermarket exhaust on them. I saw a Tesla, like P85 or P100, I can't tell what it was, which I have to say just feels perfect here.
Yeah.
It really feels like, rather than being oppressed by the heat, it's kind of like, I know that the power doesn't necessarily come from solar, but it just feels like it's almost sucking
I know what you mean,
power, into it. And what was weird about that is it was noisy. And even when it was sat still, you could hear this kind of electric whir from it, which I assume was probably like the AC compressor or something like that going crazy.
Maybe fans for the batteries if it is very hot, yeah.
So it was just sat there and it was making this kind of high-pitched sort of whizzing sound, and then it pulled away.
The sound of the future.
Yeah, the sound of the future. And that, again, that was just tickling around town, barely creeping along. But it felt very right from Tesla.
Yeah. Wow, they wouldn't get on round here, would they, really? I mean, I'm not saying it's right. I'd much prefer driving round here to be a much more relaxed affair, but crikey, they would... they'd be in for a shock, the average American who came round here of a Monday morning, yeah.
I've experienced that. I've followed an American trying to drive over here, and roundabouts and everything like that. And, up on the northeast coast, that's how they drive way worse than we do in our cities. Terrible. But down here, it's just like no one can be bothered. And
it's too hot.
If you've got like a lowrider or a cruising car, because even those guys, like I say, I've seen a few nice cars and they've just really kind of just glide along and just cruising. And then I heard a car booting it, and it was the old Mustang, and it just seemed so naff to do that.
Yeah.
In this kind of baking heat.
Yeah.
So America right now is it's becoming Europe.
It's very homogenised and very sort of bland, yeah.
Yeah, I think Australia is the only country that's kind of still holding out with big kind of proper gas guzzling cars.
Yeah. But even there, because they've had their Holden plant taken away from them, haven't they? So GM have closed the Holden plant in Australia, yeah.
So what's the point anymore?
No, just no more Holdens, and I don't know what the situation with Ford is over there, because I think it's been a huge thing for obviously Bathurst and the kind of Ford Holden, and the new Holden's coming back, looks like an Insignia, it's got a V6 twin turbo in it. I think that's a very big adjustment for the Australians, like you say.
Yeah, that's it. All the engines are getting smaller, they're getting turbochargers in them, because they can find... Because can you imagine, trying to make a turbo car reliable over here?
Yeah, true.
When you're selling into Alaska and Death Valley.
Yeah, in the same stroke, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's just not going to work. But they've managed to do that somehow now. And yeah, that's it. That's it's a little... It's a little bit sad, in a way.
Yeah, it's that kind of all or nothing. You've either got, like you say, these Hellcats and Challengers and Chargers, or, a Beigemobile and not a lot else.
That's exactly it. And there's not like big caddies or anything like that. It's not like you see like a massive Mercury or something, you know, sort of impressive and different and unusual. It genuinely is like, because like the way it goes now, I was thinking about this, the way it goes is basically European style car is like 90% of everything. And then it just goes SUV. And it just goes Denali, Suburban, Escalade.
Yeah.
And they just suddenly become like it's trucks. It's either cars or it's trucks.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to ask. Like, sort of, when you were saying about the pickup thing, it's almost like that's it. It's like if you either have a Beigemobile or if you want to do anything other than that standard sort of saloon sedan, whatever you want to call it, yeah, it sounds like it's SUV or maybe pickup in around there where you are. It's pickup, isn't it? You know, kind of get it done kind of thing. Yeah, just that's the default choice. And I guess maybe that's why some of the car side of things has fallen away, because the rise of the SUV and the pickup, it's kind of, that's where the action is in a way, you know what I mean? Like that's where the Super Duties are kind of duking it out with the Rams and all that sort of stuff. That's where the market is alive, I suppose, at the moment, maybe.
Absolutely, that is absolutely what I'm seeing. What is interesting though is like, you know, in the UK, like trucks are family cars.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing that over here. Is it, you know, with the pickups? They're quite usually guys on their own, young guys, stuff like that, or they're being used for actual work purposes. It seems that people will quite often they'll have an SUV for the family.
Yeah,
it's completely.
So they're not many crew cabs then. They're all sort of single cab, sort of, or do they just go crew cab because they can?
I think they're crew cab for crews.
Yeah, true. Yeah, the real sense of the word.
Yeah, that's what I've seen. I'm not seeing kind of like families, like you say, in the extended cab or crew cab pickup trucks, which I thought I would see, but no, they're in the SUVs, the Suburbans and stuff like that. You know.
Hello.
Sorry about that.
Oh, did you press a button, or did I press a button, or something happened?
Skype crashed.
But I don't understand what you're saying there, because Macs never go wrong.
I know, right? It just literally just turned itself off.
How rude. We got the recording, though. That's the main thing.
First thing I checked.
Excellent. So where were we? We were sort of present-y doing, but...
To summarise...
Yeah.
You know, car culture as in being identifiable as America has kind of died off. The concept of the big kind of land yacht, gone now, and it's being replaced effectively by trucks and SUVs.
Yeah, I mean, that's sad, really, because like you say, when you're talking about, you know, everybody cruising around really slow, just loping around the city because it's too hot. I mean, that is like we've talked about it in the past, haven't we? About EV in cars, and it's just like, if you could EV a land yacht, that's just like, that is the ultimate cruise, isn't it? And I'm surprised that the land yacht isn't maybe still holding out in a place like this, but like, I guess it's the same as Europe, where everyone's just like, I don't want a big car, I just want a big SUV. There's like, you either have a small car, and then you've got a very niche market that's like probably Volvo making estates, and then you're just straight into SUVs, aren't you? So I suppose that's it. It's just the land yacht doesn't exist, because anyone who wants a big car goes, I'll just have the biggest car and get an SUV, basically.
Yeah, 7-seater SUV.
Yeah,
simple as
sad, because I like the land yacht thing. I think they're very cool.
Yeah, it's a, you know, at the pour a 40, you know, that's what they do at the Lowrider Club, don't they? Pour a 40 for the land yacht, because it is gone.
It's proper gone.
So the future then.
The
future. Very interesting, especially at a place like this. Before I came, I would have said the future is solar power everywhere and electric vehicles. Because, you know, you just kind of look around, you're like, why isn't everything solar powered yet? It's madness.
Yeah, why did you not just fly past acre upon acre of solar panels?
You'd think, wouldn't you? But what I did do was I got a thing called the Air Train.
Air Train?
So Phoenix Airport here, to connect you with their sort of tram line, their light rail tram line, it's built this thing called the Air Train, and it's a people mover. It's a tram, it's a monorail, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And it runs through the airport terminals. It's the only one in the world that goes over the actual runway, so planes can taxi underneath.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, you can get an Airbus underneath it.
Yeah.
And that blew my mind.
Yeah.
And I've been, on plenty of those before. They've got one at Newark, going into, New York City to get to the Newark station. They've got one at Birmingham Airport, which goes about 500 yards.
Yeah.
But those
slightly smaller scale.
Those are so clunky and so slow and quite painful, and quite often require a driver.
Yeah.
But this one they've built, it's fully autonomous. It's built by Bombardier, of course.
Oh, nice.
They build bloody everything, don't they?
Yeah.
And it's fully autonomous, runs 24/7, 365, and gets up to, I think, in a region of about 70 miles an hour.
Wow.
At one point. And yeah, it absolutely rockets along, and it kind of makes you realise, because you can get on the light rail here for a day's pass is $4. One way is $2 and stuff like that, and I just made me realise autonomous is going to take over completely.
Yeah, because it lends itself more to that style of system than it's a continuation of that style of thinking rather than sort of owning your own car and
And at the moment, the air train will always be on a track, but once that concept is extended to just driving
buses or
something, because it's so easy around here. There's so much room, and there's virtually no traffic. That's a weird thing around here. There's virtually no traffic. I mean, it's so quiet. You can just wander across streets, free and easy. And I just think that's what's going to happen. If I wanted to get, half a mile up the road right now, I've got a choice. I can either walk 3 blocks, stand in 47-degree heat, and wait for the light rail to turn up and get on. And it is full of crazy people, crazy people that have been in the desert too long.
Yeah.
Way too long. And, wait for that to go to a stop and, you know what I mean? And then get out and then walk another 5 blocks. Well, you couldn't walk 5 blocks, another 3 blocks. It's no good. But the second that becomes where you can summon one of those things, and you haven't got to pay for the cost of a driver. So, a $15 journey becomes a $5 journey.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. It's all over for cars.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting because maybe we need to, when you're back at base and we can sort of talk this through, because I think that's the thing that we've talked about autonomous before. And it is interesting that kind of, there's the sort of maybe the assumption or the sort of belief that it's applicable everywhere, isn't it? And I don't necessarily believe that's the case, and certainly not, like you say, when it's going to be born and it's going to be limited and it's going to make mistakes or it's going to not be as complex as it should be. But like you say, a place like this is perfect for it. A place like, calling an autonomous vehicle to get us from here to Buxton is maybe not a doer, you know what I mean? Or going around lanes and that kind of stuff. So I do think, while I wouldn't disagree with you on the sort of autonomous thing, is that because I think you're right. It is going to be interesting to see how it appears, doesn't it? I think it's going to be a bit sort of like a bacteria sort of just growing in certain areas, and maybe one day it'll all join up. But I think you're going to maybe see it in inner cities, aren't you, to begin with, and maybe certain types of cities that are built more on the block pattern, and then it'll migrate to older cities, maybe on the East Coast, where it's a bit more complicated. Or it'd be fascinating to sort of see how that works, and maybe where the limitations are. I mean, when we're talking about land yachts and stuff, it's the same. That's why there's land yachts, because like you say, the roads are just dead straight through the desert. What else are you going to do apart from you want to sit in luxury? Well, dead straight through the desert is surely, relatively speaking, a piece of cake for an autonomous vehicle. Whereas navigating down one of our B roads on a sort of dark, misty sort of, November day is a different kettle of fish, I'd guess, really.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, this is such an easy place to implement it, but you're totally right when you talk about building cities in block systems and stuff like that. The space they have here, for instance, they're putting in bike lanes everywhere they can right now, and they're trying to do that. but they've got the space to address all the issues that autonomous vehicles run into with recognising things. Like, people sort of like, they get so upset when they talk about, recognising traffic lights and things like that, and it's like, it's nothing to worry about, because soon every single traffic light will have, will transmit what it's doing, or will be configured in a way that an autonomous car can't miss it. Same goes with sidewalks, lanes, everything like that. It's only putting paint on the ground. It's not, it's not impossible to address this. But yeah, totally trying to do the same down a B road where you've got people hurtling back and forth, and horses and cyclists and God knows what going on, high hedges. So much harder. So if it's going to happen anywhere first, it's going to happen, maybe not in Phoenix, but LA, Vegas be very good for it, because a lot of...
Oh no, has it crashed again?
Have I? I'm all right. I can hear you.
Oh no.
Have you
crashed again?
No, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Oh, bugger.
What's this Mac malarkey? It's crashed twice now.
No, I'm here. And I can hear you.
What's going on?
Oh, this is no good at all, is it, bloody? Hello, I can hear you typing. Oh, that's funny. Your messages are coming up, but I can still hear you. 1 second. I do apologise to you viewers who are suffering through this, but let's just sit back and reflect on how incredible it is that I can even have this conversation with Andrew from, 6,000, 7,000 miles away, or whatever it is. We are truly blessed. I'm going to end the call, and then we'll see whether or not we can get him back.
Hello.
Hello again. Sorry about that. It was a problem my side. My wireless just went. I think it just dropped me internet connection or something.
Bloody hell.
Bit of everything today.
I know.
And I could
at least
hear
you didn't have to blame that one on the Mac as well.
We could all hear you trying to get a response out of me.
But you just weren't there.
Right. Well, we'll wrap things up because you're probably baking right now.
I'm a bit warm. Yeah, it's all right for you in your aircon.
Sweltering right now, I imagine. But yeah,
it is rather warm.
The future's Tesla, I think, over here, and that's about it, really.
Yeah, and I think, when we were talking about, I think it's really interesting that sort of, I'm not going to say, I think a lot of English people would be sort of lording it over the Americans right now with their sort of our medieval roads and that kind of stuff, and we've got history and you haven't. But I mean, it's not better or worse. It's just different, isn't it? And like you say, it's a bit like, when you look at, I think it's Singapore. Singapore's got a high-speed Wi-Fi on their underground system because it was probably built like 10 years ago. Whereas our tube, miracle of Victorian engineering or whatever it is, I mean, it's like a black hole the moment you walk down the steps. I mean, that's the difference, isn't it? And when you're dealing with, like I say, roads that are based on medieval tracks or even maybe pre-medieval tracks that have just been widened just enough that you could get a cart down and then it becomes a road one day, completely different to, like I say, having the space to have big roads with building setbacks, so you've got that space to put bike lanes in or tweak lanes and that sort of stuff. It's very different, yeah. Yeah. I just think everything's just going to sort of turn into a Tesla over here, so everyone's just going to start copying them. Yeah. And, hopefully something interesting will happen. I mean, I think you could do a lot with autonomous cars. I think the idea that, you kind of stand, holding on to a pole and go, I think it could be you just sit, you lounge down, you sat backwards, you sat sideways, you sat in a circle, who knows, and you just cruise through town just in your aircon glory, maybe completely tinted, I don't know, it's just going to be like, you'll be able to get like a drink probably when you're on one, like a little vending machine or something. Yeah, Coke will be in there like a shot, that's it.
There, we've got some pumps. You go along.
You just feed yourself the whole time you're in there, yeah.
So that's where
and I guess kind of the other thing is, like we've said before, in the same sense as like hybrids, I guess, you're going to get this sort of, I mean, you're seeing it now, aren't we, really, with like radar guided cruise control and all that sort of stuff. You're going to get this kind of in a city where it is easier to control a car autonomously, or on an interstate or something like that, you're going to start to see this kind of stuff, aren't you, where you can just take your hands off the wheel and you've got a normal car, but in certain situations or in certain geographical areas, it essentially does become an autonomous vehicle, for want of a better word. So interesting, as always, like we say with the future stuff, it's interesting and it's all changing, and you've got to try and keep up with it, really, haven't you, one way or the other.
Yeah. Well, there we go, how exciting it shall be.
I know. And look at us, it's like the future here, because we're doing futuristic shed brewing over the internet.
How about that? We'll still have our flat caps on though, won't we, regardless? There might be solar powered flat caps.
You give me an idea now.
Powering our little brains.
Right. Charging our phones up.
Well, I think, that went well, and thank you for those that have listened to our international episode. I'm sorry about the technical issues that we've run into.
Yeah, I hope my audio's been all right, because my little fan at the back of my computer's been going ape it's just like, it's one of those things, isn't it? You sit down to do a transatlantic tea break, and your computer just goes, oh, I need to run antivirus now, and there's some updates I need to run right now as well. And you're like, no. So yeah, hopefully it's audible and visual enough. And I hope no one accuses you of having a CGI background as well, because you showed me it before. It's real. It's the real deal.
Bloody
real glass.
Look at that. Right. Okay. Yeah. So thanks everybody for listening.
Yeah.
Hope you get over the heat wave soon, everybody. If you're be you in the moorlands or be in the Badlands.
Nice.
Ta-ra!
Ta-ra!